Hey guys, it's Dale from Lux BMX, back here again with another product video for you today. We're going to be looking at cranks and everything you need to know when you're selecting a new set of aftermarket cranks for your bike. There's going to be three main sets that we're going to look at. I have two of them here in front of me. One of them I don't have a set for you, unfortunately. So the first set is going to be one-piece cranks. These are generally going to be used on a more retro style of bike, although some modern low-end completes do still come with them, generally on the smaller sizes, so like your 16s and your 18s, not so much in the 20s. So your one-piece crank generally going to be combined with a loose ball bottom bracket setup, which means that they're not going to be compatible with majority of current bottom brackets. So realistically, they'll be used for someone that's, say, rebuilding their bike from their childhood, or possibly building up a retro bike that they've picked up from somewhere. Alrighty, so the second style of cranks that there are, it's going to be your two-piece, like these Odyssey Thunderbolts. So with these cranks specifically, they sell both a left and right hand drive set. So today I've got a left hand drive set for you to look at. Basically, how two-piece cranks work, in this instance, Odyssey has welded the spindle to the drive side crank arm to make things nice and easy. So simple as you install your sprocket, throw your cranks through your bottom bracket, pop the other crank arm on. Pros and cons to two-piece cranks. Pros are you're only looking at one bolt, especially with this Odyssey setup. You only have to make sure that your non-drive side arm is tight. The other side is welded on, so you don't need to worry about it basically. Cons to it, if you want to take right or left arm off, depending on what side you run your drive side on, you do need to take that arm out, pop the whole crank set out to get your sprocket off. It does vary from brand to brand. Different brands will use different systems. So let's say if you're looking at a set like the Fly Doldom 2s, they actually have a 2.5 piece design where the spindle is still free from the crank arm, but once you insert it on there, it does become a two-piece set. Benefits to that is it's less maintenance, less to keep an eye on when it comes to checking bolts and that sort of thing. Does result in a pretty lightweight set of cranks as well, but can be a little bit fiddly to work on. Next, we're gonna have your three-piece cranks. So this is a more conventional style, basically came out after the one-piece, they went to a three-piece design, and it offers you a super strong set of cranks, along with adjustability of being able to run left or right-hand drive, and to be able to swap them out pretty quickly. So with these, doesn't matter which side you want to run, whether you're running left-hand drive or right-hand drive, attach your sprocket to that side, pop it on your spindle, doesn't matter which way you go. The spindle also doesn't have a direction, unlike the Thunderbolts where your spindle has to be going from the drive side. With your three-piece cranks, you can leave your spindle in your bottom bracket and take both arms off, swap them around, do whatever you want with it. It doesn't make a difference. For someone that's, say, riding street or is a little bit heavier on their parts, tends to be a bit more abusive to them, going to recommend a three-piece set of cranks. A little bit heavier overall than a two-piece design would be, but they generally are going to be a stronger crank. Another thing to factor in when you're looking at any set of cranks is what size bottom bracket you're running. Depending on this will depend on what cranks you'll go for. So Profile Racing do a three-piece crank that's super popular with the park guys. They come with a 19mm spindle. They also do a column crank, which is another three-piece design. They come with 22mm, or something like the Federal Vice cranks that are a 24mm spindle. Depending on what you're doing, depends on what you'll go for. If you're looking for a super lightweight park setup, something like Snafu Mayweather's Profile Racing, either the columns or just the standard race cranks, going to be fantastic, fairly lightweight. If you're looking for something super beefy, super strong for street riding, definitely going for something like the Federals, Odyssey, Wethepeople, anything like that. Two sets that we've got in front of us, the Odyssey Thunderbolts as well as the Wethepeople Logic cranks, both come with a lifetime warranty as well. So if that's something that you're worried about, definitely worth going and spending that little bit extra to get the product with the lifetime warranty, as it really does make a difference and it gives you that confidence to maybe send that slightly bigger drop that you've been eyeing off or hit that big double. Alrighty, so another thing that you need to factor in when you're selecting a new set of cranks is what crank arm length you want to go for. In the past, this really hasn't been an issue, as most people just ran the standard 175mm cranks. However, with the advances in technology as well as the advances in the riding that people are doing these days, crank length has really come into focus. So as I've just said, your standard crank length is going to be 175 millimeters. This is what comes on most complete bikes, bar some of the smaller sizes. What does crank length affect? So an easy way to look at it is if you stand with your feet apart and you jump, it's a lot harder to get height out of it. If you bring your feet close together and do the same jump, you're actually going to get a little bit more pop out of your legs. So it's just allowing your body to be more efficient. Same thing applies to cranks. So by having a shorter crank, so if you go from 175 mil to say like a 160 or a 165, your feet are that little bit close together. Even though you're saying 10, 15 mil, that really doesn't make a difference, does it? It really does once you're actually on the bike. So by going to a shorter set of cranks, you're going to have a little bit more pop. It can also help with spins as well by having your feet closer together. It's the same principle. If your feet are closer together, it means that your whole center line of your body is more relevant and you'll get better twist power out of it. Vice versa, if you say, looking for something that's going to be more stable, staying with that 175, even maybe bumping up to like a 180 mil crank could realistically be a good option for you, as it's going to give you a slightly wider stance, which means you're going to have more stability, say if you're ripping around a bowl or big set of jumps. As always, if you have any questions about any of the cranks that you've seen today or any cranks that we have listed on the website, please feel free to shoot us an email to help@luxbmx.com or get in touch with us via our socials. Any other questions, happy to help. Cheers.